What's up guys? So in this particular video we'll be discussing about Bhutan in the month of May 2025, what you should be expecting in terms of the weather, the road condition, the places that you should be visiting, what is the kind of trip that you need to be planning, and overall, is Bhutan a good time to be going in the month of May? Will it rain? Let's answer all these questions. So starting off with the weather, you got to keep in mind that Bhutan is a Himalayan country, so by default, even though it is the month of May, the temperature is going to be pleasant. So the daytime temperature will range from anywhere between 12 degrees to 25 degrees, and the night temperature will be anywhere between 5 degrees to 15 degrees. Now this temperature fluctuation again depends entirely on where you are. In places like Phuntsholing and I would say Thimphu, it will be a little bit warmer, while in places like Ha Valley, Pobjika, Punakha, and even Paro, which are at a little bit on a higher altitude, it's going to be much more pleasant and cooler, especially in the nights. In places like Ha Valley, you can expect it to be really windy after sunset. Now, when it comes to the rain, you can expect it to rain a little bit towards the end of May. So, if you're someone who's planning a trip to Bhutan towards the latter half of May, you can expect it to rain a bit. But do not worry, these rains are not going to really hamper your trip or your movement. The roads in Bhutan are well made throughout, so by default, no matter where you're traveling in Bhutan, you're not going to be hampered because of landslides or any kind of torrential rain problems which will hamper the road conditions. There are no potholes also on the roads in Bhutan. That's how flawless the entire road trip to Bhutan is. So if you're someone who's planning a trip to Bhutan with your family and there are senior citizens in your group, you do not need to worry about them being comfortable. This is the most comfortable Himalayan road trip that they will ever get to experience as of 2025. You need to carry an umbrella just in case it rains, but you do not need to carry too many umbrellas. Like a 3-fold small umbrella is more than enough to take you along this journey, because the rains, like I mentioned, will be very mild. But overall, the landscape is going to be lush green with plenty of flowers blooming and a spectacular view of the Himalayas with greenery and snow-capped mountains. Now, the places that you should be visiting in the month of May by default is Phuntsholing, because that's the gateway to Bhutan from India via road. You need to stop at Thimphu, Paro. If you can, stay a night at Punakha, Ha Valley, and Pobjika. Now, remember, when you're planning your trip to Bhutan, unlike other Himalayan countries, you cannot really travel on your own in Bhutan. You need to go via a travel agency. So, by default, you need to book a package which includes your STF, that is your daily fees to be in Bhutan. Club with that, you need to have your guide with you from day 2 onwards. Without a guide, you cannot really travel in Bhutan. You need a guide with you all through the journey. So your driver is separate, your guide is separate. Indian vehicles are not allowed in Bhutan anymore, so by default you need to be having a Bhutanese vehicle with you on this journey. To get your permit to enter Bhutan, you need a passport or a voter ID. If you have a passport, it's a much seamless and easier way to get in. A voter ID will take you a little bit longer. No other Indian documents are valid to enter Bhutan. Now remember, when you're booking a package with the travel agency, most of them will cover your SDF, they will cover your guide fees and your stay travel. The only thing that's not included is entry fee, but Bhutan is really costly when it comes to entry fee. Like just going up to Tiger Nest, which is in Paro, it is around 1000 INR to enter the temple. So after you do the 5-kilometer hike, you'll have to spend 1000 Indian or Bhutanese rupee to enter the temple. And the same goes to enter any kind of monastery or a zong over there. The entry fee is anywhere between 100, 300, 500 or 1000. So be prepared to spend, I would say, a minimum of around 3 to 4,000 rupees extra per person for your entry fee, because that's the amount of money that you're going to have to spend if you want to see you want to enter all the monuments and experience all the monasteries that are there in Bhutan, because they all come with an entry fee. Now, when it comes to the duration of the trip that you need to plan, the longer you plan your trip, the better it will be, because that way you can have a more relaxed journey around Bhutan. But just make sure that you have a minimum, I would say, of 6 nights, 7 days. Anything less than that is going to be a bummer in terms of you're not really going to experience Bhutan completely, because you're just going to be traveling from point A to point B without getting too much of rest, and then you're just going to be skipping through places. So the only way to really experience Bhutan is to plan a 6 nights, 7 days or longer. If you can do an 8-night, 9-day trip or a 9 nights, 10 days trip, then even better, because this way you can actually do justice to the amount of money that you're spending to travel and visit Bhutan. Now, when it comes to the places that you should definitely visit in the month of May, I would say Ha Valley and Pobjika are two places that definitely need to be on your bucket list. If not both, at least one out of the two you need to add to your bucket list, because these are places where you'll actually experience the true culture and feel of what Bhutan is. Places like Paro and Thimphu today are very commercial, even though MNCs are not allowed in Bhutan, but the Bhutanese have learnt well from outside, and you'll get a pretty Western atmosphere in both of these places. But when you go to Pobjika and Ha Valley, that's where you're actually going to get a raw experience of what the interiors and the countryside of Bhutan is. Overall, the homestays in Ha Valley are really worth the night. You'll get an experience of staying with a family where you can actually experience the entire life of what a Bhutanese family lives in the 24 hours or 48 hours that you're spending with the family. Now, if you're someone who's planning a trip to Bhutan and are confused about how to go about it, you can click on the link in our description where you'll get all the details related to our trip to Bhutan. You can scroll through our website if you're interested. You can directly book from our website, or you can WhatsApp our team via this WhatsApp option on our website. Our sales team will help you with booking the trip with us. If you have any queries related to travel to Bhutan on your own, that's your own independent travel, and you have queries, you can leave a comment in the comment section on YouTube. Please do not WhatsApp us for your own personal trip to Bhutan, because our sales team is only meant to take care of sales related to Tlow trips, not related to any other queries to Bhutan. For all your personal queries for Bhutan, leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Now, when it comes to the budget for Bhutan, remember that when you're going for 6 to 7 days, you have to be mentally prepared to spend close to around 40 to 50,000. This would include your travel and includes your flight, and depends on the number of people. The more the number of people, the cheaper the trip will get. The lesser the number of people, it's going to be costly. If you're just planning a couple trip to Bhutan, forget about it, because it's going to be super costly. Just try to club in at least a minimum of 4 to 6 people in your group, so that Bhutan becomes affordable. Anything less than that, and it's going to be really expensive, and then you might not feel it's worth it. Now, very important thing to understand and remember when you're traveling to Bhutan is that Indian debit and credit cards do not work in Bhutan. So by default, you need to have cash with you. So before you enter into Bhutan, make sure that you have cash with you, either exchange with your travel agency or with your guide, so that you do not fall short of cash in Bhutan. Because by default, no matter which ATM, debit or credit card you have, it is at the back of it, it's going to be clearly mentioned that it doesn't work in Bhutan and Nepal. So there's no way it's going to work in the ATMs over there. Food in Bhutan is not at all expensive, so do not have to worry about lunch. Most of the packages you book will come with breakfast and dinner included, so you do not need to worry about those two meals. It's just a lunch, which is not at all expensive. Over and above this, Bhutan has plenty of alcohol options. So if you're someone who likes to taste alcohol, especially wine or whiskey, Bhutan has plenty of good cheap alcohol variants which you can buy. Just make sure that you have extra cash with you when you're traveling to Bhutan. So I would personally recommend, for a week-long trip, carry at least minimum 10 to 15,000 per person extra, so that by default you do not fall short of cash. If you have extra money left, you can always bring it back to India. In Bhutan, Tashi SIM is the best network provider. So by default, if you're looking to have a SIM card, get Tashi SIM. They work really well, and you can get it immediately after you have got your immigration done, that is your permit to enter Bhutan. With that, you can get a SIM card, and your guide will help you get the SIM card. Over and above that, most places in Bhutan have Wi-Fi, so you wouldn't really struggle. But taking an international SIM from India is not worth it, because you'll just spend too much of money for a week, which is not really advisable. So now, till our next video for Bhutan, stay safe, stay happy, and stay blessed.